Art, as defined by the Webster Dictionary, is something that is created with imagination and skill, and that is beautiful or that expresses important ideas or feelings. Art comes in many forms, such as music, dance, theater, literature, and the visual arts. The visual arts include drawing, painting, sculpture, film, architecture, and design. Art is the visual interpretation of the human experience. Where do we draw the line between what is and isn't art, and what makes a work of art valuable? Art is subjective. Art can be anything you want it to be. There are so many forms and differences of art that there is no clear line between what is and isn't art. Just like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so is art. Our textbook states, using Janet Eckelman's work of art, Her Secret is Patience, that artist creation is a two-way street. We form art, and then the art forms us by enriching our lives, teaching us, touching our spirits, commemorating our past, and inspiring or persuading us. The same can be said for the value. As stated in the documentary, buyers' want, economic status, the status of the artist, all can influence art's value. Take, for example, a picture that my son drew me. It hangs in my office. It's of a minion. And due to sentimental value, it is priceless. Now, my child is no Monet, but sentiment can also influence art value. The gentleman in the BBC documentary that faced financial ruin after buying not one but two of the most expensive paintings is believed to have burnt them, as he threatened to do, rather than sell them and regain some of his losses. He was that attached to a painting. What is art used for, and how can it function in the world? In our textbook, it states in the preface that artistic creativity is a response to being alive, and by experiencing such creativity, we enrich our experience of life. We can see artist creativity in a very pure form by looking at an artist's work. Art can be used for a variety of things, from remembrance to expression. For example, therapists use art as a way for a child to describe feelings. Children's artwork also describe a lot about what's going on in their world. They draw what they are seeing, what they are experiencing, what they are feeling. It can tell you just about everything about their situation. How can art function in the world? In Chapter 2 of our textbook, it looks at art in a social and cultural context with 6 functions. They are delight. This would be art created for one's enjoyment. For example, Thomas Kincaid, the painter of light, he creates paintings of various buildings, homes, the woods, and uses paint to depict light. He does this for delight so that people can enjoy his creations. Commentary. This would be art used to provide a visual account of an event or a person. For example, The Massacre of the Innocents by Peter Paul Rubens. He depicts a graphic image of the biblical massacre of the innocents as told in the Gospel of Matthew. Worship and ritual. Art is used to aid in religious teachings. For example, how many churches have you been in that does not have stained glass or a sculpture of Jesus on the cross or a picture of Jesus or Mary? Commemoration. Art is used for memory, to remember a place or time. For example, the Pearl Harbor Memorial is a place for remembrance of all the souls who lost their lives. Persuasion. Art for persuasion. For example, propaganda, such as the poster that says Uncle Sam wants you for the military. That's propaganda. Self-expression. Art is art used to express information about the artist's feelings, personality, or worldview. For example, Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait. What are some key points I learned within the documentary and the readings? How did it alter my thoughts? The key points I learned in the documentary and readings are, in the documentary I learned there is a great following and demand for certain art that surpassed any expectation I had. I really had no idea that people were paying such substantial amounts of money for art. In the documentary, I also learned that art collectors have various tastes. Some want pretty things, some want solely for the artist's name. The artist's name, I'm finding, is the biggest motivator, and their status, if they're deceased or not. In the readings, I learned that art is subjective and more present in our everyday life than I ever realized. In the readings and documentary, it altered my way of thinking about art and how prevalent it is in my life. It also made me stop and look at art. I have seen the Massacre of the Innocents so many times in various books or on TV, and I've never really paid attention to it. Until the documentary, I really didn't know what was going on in that picture. Until it actually broke it down and described it to me, and now that I look at it, it gave me a whole new aspect for art. I'll actually stop and look at it.